Hello guys, it's Randall with Bitraged. So a number of you guys have asked for a video on Litecoin. So here we are. I want to discuss Litecoin for a little bit. I want to draw some trend lines, just talk about what's going on with Litecoin. If you've been paying attention to the news, you will have heard that Litecoin has been denied. So LitePay is actually being postponed because Visa is saying no way, not happening, you're not getting a debit card. And if you'll remember, if you've watched all of our videos, in an earlier video I was talking about ICOs that are claiming that they will have a debit card, and I had some skepticism because you have to get a debit card, you have to get approved, and a lot of ICOs have been claiming as though it had already happened, as though that process had already cleared. And I actually heard that news a while ago. That should be interesting and should push Bitcoin up if that actually happens. So for Litecoin, they were denied, and if Litecoin's denied, which is established, it's doing really well, I think has a lot of legitimacy. What do you think is going to happen to all these littler ICOs that are claiming that they're going to have a debit card? It's going to go down the drain. It's just going to go totally down the drain. And I had done a video on Graft, and some people had commented and mentioned Crypterium, and actually I really love the idea behind Crypterium, and I actually recorded a whole video on Crypterium versus Graft, and I was going to share that with everyone, and I decided to can it for several reasons. But the one thing with Crypterium is that it claimed to be a bank. Not only the debit card issue, but it actually claimed to be a bank. And I'm like, this is not going to go well. This is not going to go well because you can't do that. Major countries, the United States, Europe, they're not going to go along with that because they have rules and regulations on what a bank is. So that type of stuff, and here we are with Litecoin and LitePay, and we're seeing where that is affecting. So we're seeing where that is actually affecting Litecoin, and it's probably going to affect it quite a bit more as more people realize that LitePay is not going to happen here for at least a while. So news definitely affects things. It definitely plays a role on cryptocurrency, but it is not the deciding factor. You could have that news and then everyone Litecoin say, we don't care. We believe in Litecoin. We're still riding the ship. Then the news won't matter. So perception of news is more important than news. So what the community believes about that news, you can have positive news, and if the community sees it as negative, they might all sell out even though that was positive news. So let's go ahead here and okay, that looks good. So we have 3 points of confirmation. We have the first one, our start, we have a second, a touch, and our third here, which is basically an attempt to break out that failed. But the very next candle is a very bullish candle, and this is what you're looking for when you see a breakout. This is what you want to see in a breakout. You want to see this nice bullish candle, and preferably 3 candles, 2 to 3 candles after a breakout is a very good confirmation that you are very much out of the correction here. And on Bitstamp it doesn't show it. On another exchange, I don't remember if that was Bitraged, but there's actually a test of the trend line. There's actually a shadow that comes down and tests that trend line as support, and it stands. So this has become decent support now, and it's unlikely that we break through it. Even with the news of LitePay, it's unlikely that we break through it. Possible, but unlikely in my opinion. Alright, so that's pretty close. This shadow doesn't completely touch, but as we mentioned before, when drawing trend lines, you do want them to touch, and we could do this. Let's see here. We could do that as well. I don't like that because I like to keep the areas as close as possible from the top to the bottom. I feel like that's the most accurate way to draw your charts or your trend lines. But I'm not too worried about the bottom trend line anyways because we've already broken out. So what I really wanted to focus on was this breakout and compare this breakout to Bitcoin. So we have an attempt here to test that resistance. It just bounces right off the resistance. We have a small attempt here, and it doesn't even make it all the way up, and bears come in saying knock it off. It's not happening. So then we get down to this area, and bears are like, let's push this. Let's push this envelope. And bulls come in and say, not happening. So bulls push it all the way back up and say, nope. And we establish this kind of area here that we kind of bounce around in for a while. Because bears say you're not going higher. Bulls say you're not going lower. And you kind of bounce in. And finally, we get this point where bulls pick up power. And we actually break through. And we have a nice, beautiful breakthrough. And that's what you want to see. You want to see that where you have buyer volume. This is buyer volume coming in. You're not seeing the sellers coming in to sell off. You're not seeing the people who bought in earlier trying to just sell off. You're seeing an overwhelming amount of buyers who believe in the market. That's what you want to see. But is that what we're seeing in Bitcoin? So here's my Bitcoin chart. I drew this on the 26th. So it's pretty much as I drew it on the 26th. So if something looks a little bit off as far as where the arrows are pointing, that might be why. Also, keep in mind that the arrows don't correlate with specific dates. It's just showing you the zones. So don't get thrown off by saying, oh, you know, he's saying in April we're going to be at 13,000. I'm not saying that. So what are we seeing happening with Bitcoin? Well, I see it on TradingView. I'm seeing a ton of people saying that we've broken out. And the answer is no, we have not. No, we have not broken out. And if you're watching the candle right now, we actually are coming close to our low. We were back to 10,500, but we've been kind of bleeding down, and we're actually like on GDX, we're like $4 away from our low here. So bears are definitely pushing back here, and we just made a new low. So here's the point. I know a lot of people say, well, you're very bearish, you're very negative, you're spreading FUD. To those people, I have one thing to say. I really don't care what you think. I really don't care what you think. What you think doesn't really mean anything to me. And honestly, you might say, well, that's pretty harsh. But no, it's not, because you shouldn't really care what I think. You shouldn't really worry too much about what I think. You shouldn't come here looking for what I think. What you should be coming here looking for is, and most of you, what you are here looking for is, what is the chart saying? Because you want to hear what the chart is saying. And when we look at the chart and let the chart explain itself, then we can make logical and motionless trades that aren't going to sink us into a hole, that aren't going to trap us, right? Because what is happening right now appears to be very much a bull trap. Now, this could turn around. It could turn completely around. We could get buyers just flooding the market saying, no way, we really believe in Bitcoin. But that doesn't appear to be what's happening. So look at what happened here at this false breakout. Depending on which exchange you have more of a false breakout than others, some exchanges show it as pretty much just a touch on the trend line. That's okay. You're not going to have every exchange fall into place. That's totally fine. On GDAX, we have a shadow that pierces and it drops back down. The next candle is very bearish. So people are calling this because you have this high. And as soon as we had this high, people called this a breakout. There are TradingView charts from the 20th that were calling this a breakout. And what happened? Everybody who bought in here, has been stuck. They've been stuck at lower prices up until even today. Most likely still today. Unless they sold at a loss. So we're looking for a confirmation candle. And instead of this confirmation candle being bullish, it was bearish. People were calling this a breakout candle. They were saying, oh, we're to the moon. They're drawing pictures of the moon and little spaceships. I don't really get that. I honestly don't really get that whole concept. I mean, I think most of us are adults. I really just don't get the whole to the moon garbage. I don't get it. I mean, honestly, when I'm trading, I don't get pictures of the moon and spaceships in my head. I might think about things I want to buy or things I want to do, but I don't get that whole to the moon nonsense. I really don't get it. But regardless, people are calling this a breakout, and literally, we're on the line here, and on other exchanges we might break through it slightly, but it's not a breakout. You need a confirmation, and this candle right here is not a bullish confirmation candle. And now we haven't ended the day yet, so we could shoot right up and just blast through, but we're actually bleeding right now. So since I started this video, we actually just made a new low for the daily, so we're actually bleeding out. And this is a bearish negative. It's a negative confirmation, which is telling us we didn't break out, And most likely this is a confirmation that we didn't break out. Again, it's totally possible the next day we get a very bullish candle to just bust straight through there and confirms. But we have to look at what's happening right now. We can't look at tomorrow. We can't guess. We have to look at what's going on today. And I know I've said this before, and I know people have asked, are you still bearish? No, I'm not bearish. I'm honest, okay? Because I don't get swept into the dustbin of being bearish or bullish. I look at a chart and I look at what it's saying. And if today it's bearish, fine. Tomorrow it's bullish, fine. All I care about is where it's headed, right? So I don't really like to be classified as that because it sounds like I'm just looking for bearish things and I'm not. This is just what's going on with the chart. And we're bleeding right now, and most likely we will close because we don't have too much time left. Most likely we're going to close below this trend line in this area, and most likely we're coming back. Most likely we're coming back to test this area. So I'm anticipating that 10,000 dropping below 10,000 is totally possible within the next 24 hours. Possibly before I even upload this video. We really have to see some bulls come in and push this back up for that to change. And if it doesn't change and we start to see panic sellers, like I mentioned a number of times in previous videos, that's my greatest fear. It's not that I don't believe this could hold, it's that I don't believe that a lot of the people have the ability to emotionally handle that kind of a drop without panicking. 9,200, there's been a ton of people. We've had people on our video say we're not going back to 10,000, and we did. And then people say, well, now it's to 15,000. And it's like, where are you pulling that out of? We haven't even broken 11,000 yet. So people just make things up off the top of their head. And you can't do that. That is just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. So that's where we're at. We're looking at this is most likely going to close bearish. If it didn't, if suddenly we went very bullish, that would actually be a very good sign for the bulls. If suddenly, within the next, I don't know how much time we have left here, but before this actually closes for the daily, if suddenly it just shot right up and we went right back up to, let's say 11,000 or right below 11,000 and very bullish, that would be a huge sign for the bulls and would definitely bring confidence back into the market, most likely, if that happened. So you're looking for people, so those of you who are bullish, you're looking for something to look for. If that were to happen, that'd be amazing. I would see that as totally amazing, but most likely that's probably not going to happen, and we have to look at the options, which that's what we're looking at right now is a retest of 9,800, and if that breaks, we're dropping probably back to 92. So got to keep an eye on that for the next couple days. Okay, so I want to close this out. We are literally at a pivotal point here for Bitcoin. I would encourage you guys to really watch this market to see how this daily closes, and then the next day I'm anticipating we're going to close bearish, and the next day is going to open bearish, but we have to see how that ends up. But we're at a pivotal point. We really have to either break out or we're going to break down, and right now it does appear that bears may have more power. It just kind of appears that way, but could be wrong. Just kind of watch the market and be careful and don't get caught up in the hype. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Really do appreciate it. If you appreciated the video, please go ahead and give it a like. And if you are new to the channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button so that you can be notified when we do drop new videos. You're going to want to make sure you watch those. We spend a lot of time and effort to put these videos together. It's based on our research, our knowledge in the market and trading, and we do trade the market. A lot of YouTubers do not actually trade the market, and if they do, they use bots or some other artificial method. They do not actually understand the market. We actually do trade the market, and everything we do say on these videos is based on how we actually trade. So if you're looking for factual, emotionless trading advice, that's what we're here to offer. Just lastly, before I actually close this out, some people are asking for specific numbers where to buy and sell. We're not going to give you those. We're not giving financial advice. We're not telling you where to buy or where to sell. We're telling you how to read a chart so you can figure that out on your own. We're not going to be here at midnight to tell you where to buy and sell. So you need to learn how to do that for yourself. You need to learn how to understand the chart for yourself. So when midnight hits and you're at a crucial point, you're going to know whether to buy or to hold, or to sell or to hold. So that's important that you understand that. we want to provide the best possible information, but this is not financial advice. We're not telling you where to buy or sell. When you've done all the research and you've analyzed the chart, you're going to be able to figure that out on your own. You're going to be able to figure that out on your own. So last point here, you'll notice the EMA. It's literally bouncing off the EMA right now. All right, guys, so that's about it. Thanks so much for watching. We really do appreciate it, and take care, guys.